can't allow a president to check out and have unelected, unaccountable, faceless people making massive decisions for the country.
Attorney General Pam Bondi says her team has already started a review of the Biden administration's reported use of the Autopen for pardons as his mental acuity is being debated. This following the GOP-controlled House Oversight Committee report just released today, calling for a void on orders that didn't have his consent. Joining us now to discuss, former U.S. Attorney John Fishwick. Tons to discuss with you tonight. How do you legally even begin to undo what was done, John?
Well, Dee Dee, we're in uncharted territories. Nobody really in the history of our country has ever tried to undo actions by a president, particularly as relates to a pardon. So we're in uncharted territory, but I think it's fair game to study all of this. After all, the Autopen was used. There's no question that, sadly, President Biden was in mental decline at that time. And so did he know what he was doing, particularly as relates to the pardons? And did other folks take advantage of that? Is there a real record to prove that certain folks were pardoned? You know, whether a pardon can be overturned, I think, is a big uphill climb. But it's certainly fair game to question all of this to make sure that the president at that time knew what he was doing and that no one was taking advantage of him.
And there is a lot of questioning right now, especially in light of the report which came out. And I want to pull part of what was said, quote, testimony before the committee confirmed that the pardons signed on January 19, 2025 were apparently the result of an in-person meeting in the final hours of the presidency for which there is no contemporaneous documentation. It also says the decision to grant these pardons was allegedly communicated secondhand to an aide, and I am reading part of that report, as you can see on your screen right there, John. What kind of authorization, it begs the question, is needed for Autopen use?
Well, to use an Autopen, you can use an Autopen. You can give a pardon just verbally, but nonetheless, the president needs to do it. The president needs to be the one saying that I know the facts of this case and I'm granting this pardon. So if there is an Autopen, it's fair game to say, hey, look, where's the documentation that President Biden authorized this pardon, and why did he authorize this pardon? So if you just have a blanket Autopen without the documentation to support it, I think it's fair game to question that, to prove, did Biden actually approve these pardons or did someone else? I think this is totally fair game. It's going to be a challenge because I think some of these folks are either not going to testify, and Biden's, I'm sure, going to say, I did approve them. But nonetheless, this is totally fair game.
Also today, the committee released this video from July in which a former Biden aide, Mike Donilon, says he would have gotten a roughly $4 million bonus if Biden won re-election. Listen to this.
Were there any circumstances in which you would have received a bonus?
Yes, there was.
What were those circumstances?
That Joe Biden would have been reelected president of the United States.
What would the bonus have been?
I believe it would have been $4 million.
Your reaction? Is this level of compensation normal? Does it sound excessive to you?
I hope it's not normal. That seems like a crazy amount of money on a re-election campaign. You worry in politics about the money, but certainly a $4 million bonus if somebody wins is excessive. You know, who negotiated that? Did the president know what he was doing? Did folks negotiate that? That seems extravagant and unnecessary, and that's why folks say there's way too much money in politics. It's very disturbing.
Do you think they'll be able to, put this together and make the connection with mental acuity of Biden?
Well, it's, they're going to comb through the medical records. At this point, his doctor has refused to testify, so that's going to be a challenge. But they can get the medical records. They can subpoena them and the folks around Biden to see what his mental acuity was at the very moment that he granted these pardons, and that'll be the focus. It has to be the focus on his mental acuity at the specific time that he took certain actions. But they certainly can get the medical records.
Former U.S. Attorney John Fishwick, interesting discussion. Thank you for joining us tonight on the National News Desk.
Thank you.